those airplanes to come together like they did, one on top of the other, the wingman probably lost sight of his lead.
Certainly tense moments as two fighter jets collide mid-air. We are hearing from a former Air Force instructor who saw the collision at an air show in Idaho. More to come.
Let's look at your forecast, where for now we are seeing some sunshine, but I'm tracking some showers popping up to the north of us. A look at the timing of how this system is moving ahead.
All right, it's time. Votes will be turned in tomorrow for the Idaho primary elections. What North Idaho voters need to know. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on KREM 2 News at Noon. I'm Laura Papetti. It is good to be here with you on this Monday. Let's head outside. Jenny Power is joining us as well. She is in the KREM 2 Outdoor Weather Center. Jenny, you're wearing a coat, but it's beautiful sunshine, and I'm wearing a sweater because when I was walking through, it was actually a little chilly this morning.
Yeah, that's right. So, Laura, we were off to a cooler start here. Honestly, at this point, I could probably lose my jacket, but I want to keep it close by because what I'm tracking here is some active weather that's starting to fire up to the north of us. So, toward northeast Washington and through the Idaho Panhandle, we're starting to see some scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, very comparable to what we've seen pop up for us over this past weekend, and even now seeing a few lightning strikes here up toward the north of us, toward Colville, as well as into Stevens and Ferry County. So that's something that we're going to be monitoring as we move forward into the rest of this afternoon, because all these areas that are shaded in this green color on your screen here have the potential of seeing some isolated thunderstorms, even though through Spokane right now we are seeing some nice sunshine, good amount of clouds out there. Current temperatures are now in the upper 50s, 57 degrees, light winds coming out of the east-southeast here, 3 miles per hour sustained. As we take a look across the rest of the region, it's nice currently for Wenatchee and Moses Lake. This is one of the areas of the inland northwest that is really just anticipating to see some sunshine and drier conditions. It's across eastern Washington and North Idaho that we're watching for that chance of some of those isolated storms. Partly cloudy skies for Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, a little bit of increasing clouds through Sandpoint, Idaho, as we range in the upper 50s. As we take a look at temperatures this afternoon, we still have room to climb. We'll be in the mid 60s for Spokane, low 60s is the high for Coeur d'Alene. And these temperatures are actually now a little bit cooler than our average, but I am tracking a warming trend as we move into Memorial Day weekend. A look at that in just a few minutes. Laura.
Thank you, my friend. Happening today, a federal trial for 3 ICE protesters begins here in Spokane. Jack Arger, Bejan Mavalwala, and Justice for All may or may not be charged for impeding the transport of federal detainees to their immigration hearings. So this all stems back to the protest near Riverfront Park you may remember last year. 6 others from that protest accepted a plea deal, and they did plead guilty. The 3 in court today had pleaded their innocence, and last month Archer filed a petition to dismiss the case on the grounds that it violates the First Amendment. For All and Mavalwala signed the petition, but a judge denied it. Ben Stuckert, who called for that initial protest last June, posted on Facebook ahead of the trial. He wrote in part, quote, "I wish the 3 that didn't take plea deals a fair jury and justice." He went on to say the individual who was detained for 7 months was released from detainment after a judge deemed his containment unconstitutional. So we'll keep you updated on all the latest developments in the trial coming on later today.
Once I saw the black smoke, I knew that there was something was wrong. Once everybody, I think when the boom happened, I looked and everybody's heads were turned. Some people started running towards the black smoke and what was going on in that general direction.
As you heard, sort of a chaotic reaction to 2 Navy growlers from Whidbey Island that crashed mid-air yesterday at an Idaho air show. All 4 aircrew members ejected. Bridget Chavez explains what happened and speaks to a former Air Force instructor about the crash.
This video shows the moment 2 Navy aircraft crashed during an air show demonstration. The 2 EA-18G Growlers are intertwined. Then a flash, smoke and debris begin falling. Seconds later, 4 parachutes open, and moments after that, the aircraft crashed to the ground, causing an explosion.
Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a big flash, and I look over, and immediately I see the 4 parachutes.
The crash happened just after noon Sunday at Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho.
Once I saw the black smoke, I knew that there was something was wrong.
A Navy spokesperson confirms the 2 Growlers collided while performing at the Gunfighter Skies Air Show. Both aircraft were assigned to Electronic Attack Squadron 129 from Whidbey Island. 4 aviators were involved. The Navy says all of them successfully ejected and are being evaluated by medical personnel.
That is a miracle. When particularly jet airplanes come together, it's usually not a very good outcome. So that's a good outcome for today.
Cary Grant is an assistant professor of aeronautical science. He's also a former Air Force instructor.
When you are in a formation, you have your lead, you have your wingman, and it's always the wingman's job to make sure that you keep your lead in sight at all times.
Grant says the aircraft appear to come together one above the other.
And in order for those airplanes to come together like they did, one on top of the other, the wingman probably lost sight of his lead.
He says the investigation will look far beyond the video.
When we start investigations, we find out that most accidents are not a single cause.
But this isn't the first time something like this has happened at this air show. In 2018, a hang glider died after crashing onto the runway. And in 2003, a Thunderbird's jet crashed during the show, but the pilot was able to eject safely before impact.
Sometimes what we think initially might have been the cause of the accident isn't the cause at all. So I encourage people not to rush to judgment.
All right, looking ahead, polls open for the Idaho Primary Election at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then they close at 8 o'clock in the evening. One race we are following closely is the new Shoshone County Sheriff, or who will fill that position, rather. The resignation of Sheriffs Holly Lindsay and William Eddy means the winner will only be in office for 2 years to finish out Sheriff Lindsay's original term before having then to run again for re-election in 2028. The 3 candidates running for the position have a background in law enforcement, and all 3 say they plan to focus on balancing the county budget, retaining deputies, and certifying the county jail to make money as opposed to spending it.
I would say that the most important thing I had to work with first, and it's already resolved, is retention, right? You have to stop the bleeding in an emergency situation.
Manning's also important. It's huge. It's tough. It's going to be tough. There's no sugarcoating it. There's no magic answer.
Getting the jail certified out of the gate is probably the most important part. And that way we can open up to actually make some money from reimbursement as opposed to costing us for every inmate we have for reimbursement.
All right, to learn more about the candidates, we have that information. It is all posted on our website, KREM.com. Visit us there.